I think that's what greatness is. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. My name is Kobe Bryant. I'm 17 years old, and I've been lucky enough to live not only in different parts of the United States, but Europe as well. My father played professional basketball.
Give and go, Bryant all the way. Oh, goodness, with two hands.
13th pick in the 1996 NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
Kobe Bryant, that's the play of the game. He didn't even flinch.
The Black Mamba.
That was sensational. He took the double team, split it, threw the ball off the backboard, and beat everyone to the rebound.
And the Oscar goes to Dear Basketball, Glenn Key and Kobe!
My parents were great. Growing up, they instilled in me the importance of imagination, of curiosity, and understanding that, okay, if you want to accomplish something, I'm not just going to sit here and say, yes, you can do whatever you want. Yes, you can, but you have to also put in the work to get there. So if you put in the work to do it, you grow up having that fundamental belief. And here I come playing, and I don't score 1 point the entire summer.
Really?
Not one.
How old were you?
11, 10, 11.
And you're playing against other 10, 11-year-olds?
Uh-huh.
And you didn't score once?
Not one.
Were you in the game?
I was in the game.
How'd you not score?
Because I was terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
At 10, 11 years old, you were that terrible?
Awful. Not a free throw, nothing. Not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it and being upset about it. And my father just gave me a hug and said, listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm going to love you no matter what.
Here it is. Bryant arms the building shaker. Look at this. Way up there, and he slams it down.
Now, that is the most important thing that you can say to a child.
I've seen too many parents do the exact opposite, and it terrifies children, and children become paralyzed by their own fear.
Because from there, I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. But to hell with that. I'm scoring 60. Let's go.
Right.
And from there, I just went to work. And I stayed with it, and I kept practicing. I think that's when the idea of understanding a long-term view became important. Because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year.
They're doing windmills and dunking backwards, and I'm happy to tap the backboard, So I had to look at it from a long term because I wasn't going to give up on the game.
So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought. I started creating a menu of things. The next summer I came back, I was a little better. The summer came back, next summer I was a little better. I scored.
Yeah,
it wasn't much,
right.
But I scored. Back half at 13, 14 years old, and then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did, because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals, while they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to them.
Right, so I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more.
Once you have the fundamentals,
Exactly.
the hard work, the mindset, and you tack on the athleticism, it's game over.
Then it was game over.
Wow.
Right when I was turning 14, I became the best player in the state.
At 14?
At 14.
So from 12 to 14, you went from scoring 0 to being the best in the state.
So it's a simple thing of math. Most kids will play maybe an hour and a half, 2 days a week, obsessively training 2-3 hours every single day over a year, over 2 years.
You're to accelerate.
You make quantum leaps, man. I tell the parents on my team, I said, your kids are going to become great basketball players. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's not. There's no.
It's math.
It's it.
Show up every single day.
Show up every single day, do the work.
Consistency of work. Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and then you can get to where you want to go.
It's finding what you love to do. I mean, we talk about hard work all the time. It's like, man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession. I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. If I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. There's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do. You always want to outwork your potential. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. Get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. If you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have? Practice is more intense and harder than a Game 7 will be, then a Game 7 will be easy. But if it's not, then that's when teams start folding and capitulating. You're going to show up to play, and you're going to lollygag through this scrimmage, through this drill. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to let you know I beat you. I'm going to want you to reconsider your professional life choice. And if I got to fight to get you in the gym, that's a problem. You want players that are gym rats, players that want to be in the gym, that want to work. And then from there, you build on top of that. But if you're lazy, man, I don't want to talk to you. I won't deal with you. You're going to make me feel dumber. You're going to lower my level. I don't think so. You can go over there. There's plenty of teams in here where you'll fit right in. At the time, they were right down the hall from us.
It's an embarrassment in that direction, too.
So, they were.
Score at halftime. 49-19.
What I found in the NBA is a lot of guys played for financial stability. And when they came to the NBA, they got that financial stability. So therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these f***ing championships.
When you have your star player who is the first one at the gym and the last one to leave, it sets the bar for everybody else. He made my job so much easier because of his leadership. He ever really gets the credit for the amount of work that he puts in because he made it look effortless. His teammates would get a little frustrated with you because you did set the bar so high, but that's what made the Lakers great.
It's hard work as it's defined by the world, but to me, there was no place I'd rather be. I'd rather be on the track at 4 a.m. running wind sprints and be in a weight room at 6, be on the court at 9, train till 3. I'd rather be doing that than anything else. So it wasn't like it was hard work. I just found what it is that I love to do.
One of the things I would do is while everybody would be at the cafeteria work, eating and doing that sort of stuff, I just go back to the gym. Yeah, I may be from the suburbs, but you're not going to outwork me. He had a great quote that said, rest at the end, not in the middle. And that's something I always live by.
Talking to some of the players that you used to play with, and they were like, we would invite him to Vegas, didn't want to go. We'd invite him to play golf, didn't want to go.
Get in the car! Get in the car! Oh, here it is! Here it is! Oh, shit! Ah!
And they're like, it's not that he was antisocial at all. It just wasn't getting him closer to the goal of being the best at basketball ever.
If I'm buddies with you from high school, what happened to our relationship?
It suffers.
And you understood that. You were okay with that.
The people that love you, like friends and family, like they know that about you. So they let you be you. And when you reconvene, you pick back up where you left off. But make no mistake about it, everything in between is lost.
I didn't want to be away from it. I wanted to play all the time. Like a lot of guys have fun hanging out in the pool in Vegas. And I was consumed with this quest of trying to be the best, and we weren't there yet. There's so many things I had to figure out. Like, am I training properly? Am I working on the right things on the court? There's so many things to do. I didn't have time to go and hang out over here.
I see a lot of players, just take vacations just to take vacations or just hang out just to hang out. Like, I never did that.
I think it's how do you negotiate with yourself? I think that's the biggest thing inside of here. You talk yourself out of it. Do you say, okay, well, it won't be a big deal if I don't do it? Are you able to negotiate your way out of that little voice telling you it's not that important? I think that's what separates people who go on to do great things versus people who don't.
I went to Goat Mountain and I talked to Magic, Michael, Bird, Keem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell. I would talk to them.
You can be mentored by people who aren't alive.
100%. Because their stories still live, which brings us to the importance of storytelling.
Yeah.
So I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game, how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessiveness. The more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become. So it's not a matter of pushing beyond your limitations or expectations. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless. Sometimes you lay down in bed and you visualize things. That's at least how I would go to sleep. And I would see myself getting hot, score 10 straight points. Why would you ever interrupt that? Like, you're not going to have a dream and be like, okay, and then he misses his next 6. Like, it's not going to happen. So you just keep dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. So when you download that into your system and you go out in the court and you're just executing things that you've done thousands of times before and you have that dream, then that becomes possible.
This would be 18 for 20 from the line. 81-point game. Listen to this crowd for number 8, Kobe Bryant.
You know, a lot of times I've seen players, even myself, you know, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear, and to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in this situation. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about the situation. Yeah, I am fearful about the situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course, you know?
What does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting. It means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up, right? So it was exciting. I mean, it sucks to lose.
Right.
But at the same time, there are answers there if you just look at them.
Every game you watch?
Every game.
The whole game back?
The whole game. We're watching the start of the game to
gosh.
the end of the game. Not like the TV feed. We're watching the in-arena feed. The layup line, the timeouts, rewinding, stopping, fast forward, rewinding, slow motion, every little thing. Every game with the 82-year-old Yoda.
Phil Jackson became head coach of the Lakers. He brought Winter,
who is as brutally honest as you can get. Taught me to look at detail, things at their smallest. Look at body language, the energy between players, tactics, the overall strategy, how tactically things are manifesting themselves. Because I watched so much film, then it gave me the ability to see game in real time as if I was watching film. The game's not moving that fast anymore. You can really recognize who's doing what and why. Then you can position guys in the right places in real time. It's an obsessiveness that comes along with it. You want things to be as perfect as they can be. Understanding that nothing is ever perfect, but the challenge is try to get them as perfect as they can be. And what can you do? It's in your control, so control what you can. Basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. So when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library. I used to ask him, you know, what's it like to guard Mike? You go, Mike, you mean Black Jesus? I'm like, what the Black who?
You should be talking to him. It's like, you know, you're right. Michael, who do you think you are? The great Michael Jordan? That's right, there's a new kid on town. Kind of looks at me and starts shaking his head. He ended up with 44. And I ended up with 12. And as he's walking off, he's like, be careful, you never talk to Black Jesus like that. I'm so sorry, Black Jesus, I'm so sorry.
Well, we call him Black Jesus, or you can call him Black Cat. I'm like, I'm gonna call him Mike. So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane. When I was 18, my first year, he got the best of me a bunch of times.
Kobe on Michael. To the foul line, the jumper over him.
I was right there the next play.
There is Bryant.
You're not intimidating me, I'm not going anywhere. And I think he saw that level of respect, because I think he was the same way. That common bond where our connection was built.
Been down at half court and he wanted to know how, when I turn around on my jump shot, how to feel the defense. I told him you should feel the defense with your legs. Once you feel the defense with your legs, you can take advantage of that.
I grew up watching him.
I know where you're going. You gotta get up quick. If you knew where I was going, why you go for the fake? Mike, after you face the ball, where else you gonna go? You left your feet. Yeah, but where else you gonna go? In the game, I go for you. I spun all the way around. I go for these ribs right here.
But every now and then, you run into a player that has the same DNA that you do. Because I asked a lot of questions. All the Laker greats, I would always sit down and just ask them questions. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why? Bird tough to defend? Why? Because you look slower than me. So like I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. Whether you win or you lose, is you go back and you look and you find things that you could have done better, find things that you've done well that worked, figure out how did they work, why did they work, and how can you make them work again. But the hardest thing is to face that stuff. You have to do the hard stuff and watch that game and study that game to not make those mistakes over and over again just because you weren't brave enough to face it. Got to deal with it. Face it, learn from it. I'm notorious for just cold calling people, man. You know, just pick up the phone, call them up, and let's just talk. all of a sudden a question pops in my head, I have to know the answer. I have to know. I can't just say, okay, I have this question and just kind of let it go. No, I need to know.
Right.
You know, so I'll call.
Just ask questions, and I want to learn more about how they build their business, or how they run their companies, and how do they see the world. Why? How? How does he view product? How does he view the process of designing product? How does he know that he has the product exactly where he wants it to be? How do you know those things? How is he seeing the world? What makes them who they are? Why? I'm a big lover of music.
I was wondering, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if he's got like Taylor Swift in his car?
I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think it's important to listen to people who do great things. Taylor's been at the top of the game for a very, very long time. Yeah. How and why? I don't care if you like her music or if you don't like her music. Look at what she's doing. And so I'll look at things like that to try to learn from her as much as I can.
My kids they're funny, man. I did something for Taylor Swift at Staples Center, and for a tour, she kept bringing out special guests, right, every night. And so we're there, and Taylor and I were sitting there talking and stuff. My kids are there, and my kids go, "So who's the special guest tonight?" Shoot. And Taylor's like, "It's your dad." And Staples Center, I'm like, "It's just your dad." They go, "Oh man, got gypped."
It's about the metaphor that sports has for life. I mean, you know, sports is the greatest metaphor we have in terms of dealing with life. In sports, you have to apply it in the here and now. I mean, you're faced with challenges moment to moment. You're faced with pressures and anxiety and communication or the lack thereof and all this other stuff. Like, it's in the moment. So you have to live it. And when you practice those things, you become better at it. And it doesn't matter what they decide to do. Like, if Gianna decides to not play basketball when she grows up, that's fine. But she understands the discipline that it takes to work at something every single day. So whether she wants to be a writer, a director, a doctor, a lawyer, she'll have those characteristics. How do I take the lessons that I learned through the game of basketball and translate them into building the studio? What are the things that I can take from that? The discipline, the commitment, the team and community. How do you get the best out of each other? How do I take those lessons and move those here? Having that sharp focus is something that I got from the game of basketball.
I think through actionable things is how we teach our children. Because we can sit there and tell them, we're not, we're a kid, we didn't listen, right? But through sports, you can teach them how to think things incrementally, because that's the way they behave. And if it becomes a part of their process in sports, it'll become a part of their process in life as well.
So how can we teach our children what it means to work hard? Well, you do it through training. So when I get up in the morning, my daughter goes with me. Through that process, she understands the value of hard work and things taking time. I used to take them to the gym when I would train, and they would do things on the side, or we'd go to the track together, and I'd be running around the track and doing this sort of stuff. This way they can see it. Mm-hmm. But like with work habits, they gotta be able to see that stuff.
As parents, you gotta lead by example. If you want your kids to do whatever it is they want to accomplish in life, you have to show them. You're writing a screenplay or you're composing a piece of music. Is that the best you can do? Don't ask me. Don't say, okay, do you approve? Don't ask me. I'm not the musician. I'm not the composer. You know. So the competitiveness is more from an individual perspective. As a leader, you got to be able to take the good with the bad, man. You can't just, because the ship's sinking, all of a sudden I'm going to jump off and swim to another ship like that. You don't do that, right? If you can win championships in front of everybody, then you could miss the playoffs in front of everybody. You got to be able to take both sides of it.
The jersey retirement ceremony, I talked about that. It might have been easier for you to leave. You didn't.
I thank you for staying loyal to the purple and gold. And remaining a Laker for life when it might have been easier for you to leave.
I think I would describe love as happiness. I think I'd describe it as a beautiful journey. It has its ups and downs, right? Whether it's in marriage or whether it's in the career, things are never perfect. But through love, you continue to persevere and you move through them. You move through them. And then through that storm, beautiful sun emerges. And inevitably another storm comes. And guess what? You ride that one out too. So I think love is a certain determination and persistence to go through the good times and the bad times. I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people.